and namaste to all. Welcome to Knowledge Webcast. I would want to welcome Dr. Moria Levy. She is the CEO of ROM Knowledgeware Limited. She is also chairwoman of ISO KM Experts Committee, Knowledge Management. She is also deputy chairman for Knowledge Management Global Network. Thank you so much, Dr. Moria, for accepting my invitation and being very kind to participate in this conversation. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And today, is a special day for me because there's so many questions I have in terms of the standard committee and the standards. And of course, firstly, let me start with congratulating you for starting the AI KM course. It's incredible. I mean, the sheer amount of the program syllabus and also the timeline, almost 6 months. I think it's really, really wonderful. Do you want to speak about it? It's really marvelously conceptualized. That's what I think. And I'm participating in it too. So I did attend the first class. It was wonderful. I mean.
Okay, so AI KM course is another part of the puzzle of our dream to make knowledge management, to put knowledge management in the place where we think it deserves to be. Because today, if you look at the community, at the society, you see that in every organization, knowledge is one of the main drivers for success. However, we find that knowledge management doesn't get the respect, or doesn't, I'll say it, if you look at the other side of the coin, it doesn't give the value proposition that we believe it should give. It's not that it doesn't add, it's not that it doesn't help, it doesn't, that you don't have benefits, but not good enough. So I am very busy thinking all the time, how can we make KM better? How can we make organizations understand how important it is? And one of the ways, or one of the paths we thought, is to align it with the newest technologies we have, and specifically with AI being one of the main, if not the main driver of technology in this at least decade. So the idea had two parts. The easy part was the more understood is that organizations or KMers will understand what AI is and will know how to implement AI technologies and AI tools that assist knowledge management. For example, instead of having tagging, having auto tagging, instead of having search, having cognitive search, etc. So that is the more trivial part of the course. And of course it is important, and that is the first half of it. I find that the second half is much more interesting, much more challenging, and I would even say that is something that I dreamt about, and we started to design it, but probably it will be only a collaborative thought, a collaborative learning, something that we design, we define, and probably 2 years from now will be much more. And what is this other part I'm speaking about? This is thinking about the KMer, thinking about people with KM facilities, with KM capabilities, with KM knowledge attitude, and what their role can be in every AI project, not only in AI textual projects, but in every AI project, because the knowledge engineering we know to do best. Data management, that is 70% of most, for an average of most of the AI projects, we as knowledge managers can give a great benefit, a great added value to data management.
True.
When I look at typical AI projects, risk management, learning, lessons learned, every time when you speak about an AI project, you have trial and error and trial and error. They try and they error and they fix, but they don't know how to systematically stop and have a lessons learned session in order to stop and learn better. So every point I look at,
Okay.
The knowledge manager has so much to add, so much to benefit to the AI project, and we are not there. And it's not that somebody else is there, no one is there. So I believe that it's not only that KM can fit into these projects because they're missing some good hands to help, but we have capabilities that they don't have today. And I believe that we can leverage the AI projects and therefore help organizations that are aiming to have to implement the digital transformation at all, or specifically AI initiatives.
Truly said. So I have a counter question to what you mentioned, because this is very critical I see, because as you mentioned, artificial intelligence, whether we are talking about digital transformation, as you mentioned, at every life cycle of AI projects or whether it's digital transformation, the most essential aspect is to cultivate a taxonomy, which is part of knowledge management, discipline, or to really come out with the whole knowledge assets mapping and the lessons learned mapping. So as I can clearly see that so you're mentioning that all these things are building blocks of AI and digital transformation. Without this, I don't think then we will miss the context of the whole organization doing AI. Am I right? Or
I'll tell you the truth today. I believe that organizations run these projects and don't even think or dream or want to involve KM people.
Yes.
They have their new toy and don't disturb us.
Yes.
So it won't be that easy challenge, even though we have these skills and we have the experience. It won't be that easy to join and involve in. So we have to have a good case. We have to be good in what we offer, and we have to give added value. And I can continue on and on with specific additional places. I spoke about data management. It's also data cleansing. It's also taxonomy. It's a lot of things. But I'm also speaking about risk management, and specifically how do you find the risks that you should face. I can speak about biases and how you handle them. And we can go on, but it's essential. But the organizations don't understand that they have a missing part in this big puzzle, and we can leverage it a lot. So you are correct. It's important, but it's not that easy to involve and join the party.
So if I have to draw a parallel between what happened in early 2000 when knowledge management was at its peak and technologies took over, knowledge management technologies, some of the tools prominently, and later on organization realized that just having tool does not work. Do you think again the digital transformation and this AI, again the whole, there's a huge, the whole economy and there's a whole ecosystem being created around it. Do you think, again, they need to be aware of this pitfall?
Yes, you are correct that it resembles the situation we had 20 years ago. Of course, it has its specifications and it's a bit different, but the idea that IT, or here IT and data science people, can drive it with the business without KM, it is possible, but it is less. It won't bring them, in most cases, to where I think, in average, in most of the projects, we can bring them to a higher place. And we are all yielding not only for AI, but also for digital transformation, changing the state of mind, changing the way we work. And for that, you need people like KMers or KMers, because we know, even because we are good in lessons learned, we know to ask why and why and why again, and not to stick with the same processes we are regular to do and say, okay, we have a process, let's digitize it. We have another process, let's see how with technology we can do the same thing more effective or more efficient. No, digital transformation is stop thinking the same, think totally different, how we can get to the same ending point. And KMers don't have the answer, but they can be part of the answer and part of the brainstorming that can bring to this wow, to this place that is the dreams of every organization.
Okay, I think that's I think this also paves path to a lot of knowledge management professionals to reskill and upskills themselves so that they are better prepared for new world, post-pandemic world, or where the skills are much more niche, and maybe knowledge management professional may not get into data science. I mean, they don't have to become data scientists, but at least with all this new skill sets, I think they will be much better equipped to create value in that digital transformation and AI wave, which I see is really as part of the industry 4.0, right?
Yes, and as you may have mentioned, we have to get out of our areas of convenience. We have to make an effort, and not that easy also by ourselves in order to be there. So we have to learn all the time. We have to think differently. We have to go into new areas. It's not coming only the way we were until today.
So this again brings to my next point, more from the knowledge management profession and knowledge management, as a skill set or qualification. I mean, till last week, without KMGN, global, KM Knowledge Management Global Network, probably I wouldn't have had this question to ask you, but now this KMGN network is there. I mean, global network is there. So what are your plans, and how do you kind of, what do you envision? Because knowledge management professional over a period of 20 years for me, at least I have seen people around me quitting knowledge management profession and opting something else, or moving out, even at the leadership level, even at the practitioner level. And unless until they do not have consulting business, they're moving out of knowledge management profession. So this is one of the challenges in terms of the growth for the knowledge management profession, or even having opportunities, across industries is a challenge. Yes, there is a requirement from the technology perspective, but from the pure knowledge management jobs, it's getting shrinking over a period of time. I don't think CKO we see nowadays any CKO job, just one or here and there, right? So what is, how do you see KMGN and the current state of knowledge management professional? How do you see this? And yeah.
First of all, I want to say that I have a different opinion. I think that knowledge management is not shrinking. It is even not going in a linear way, in a linear path, because of COVID-19, we are enhancing, we are getting greater, but that's not good enough for us. First of all, we don't want to rely on pandemics in order to grow, but it's not good enough for us because it's not changing totally. And we believe that knowledge, when we advance with the years, what happens is that technology takes a greater stake of the work in organizations, and therefore the added value is in the heads, in the knowledge, in the information of the organizations. And therefore, the more technology we have, the more place for knowledge management. So we do see the growth within organizations, but we want even more. We want to be better. And KMGN, the first years, was a platform for simple cooperation between countries. What is simple cooperation between countries? It is, okay, you have a conference, I have a conference, I'll give you a discount, I'll invite you to speak in my conference. Okay, we are cooperating.
Okay.
We, for the past 2 years, are taking KMGN to a higher level, to a higher place. We want to cooperate, we want to collaborate in order to design and build better methodologies, technologies, bodies of knowledge for knowledge management. Okay. It's not a task that one can do by himself.
Impossible.
It's a task that one knowledge management manager cannot sit on his desk with his desk and work on it. is something that you have to do in collaboration. And we are knowledge managers. Why won't we collaborate? It is a task that if you don't do it in one country, but you do it across countries, you do it even better because every place has its strengths.
Okay.
So, and the most important part is not only that everyone can help one another in this brainstorming, how to bring better KM to the world, how to bring prosperity. And that is my vision, to bring prosperity to knowledge management, to organization, and through that to organizations, to society, through the knowledge management, that the knowledge would help organizations and society have a better value proposition, have prosperity because of our knowledge. So it's not something that you can do by yourself. And therefore, if you have cooperation and collaboration between different countries, you have a workforce, you have an army.
Right.
And that is what we are doing. This is the place we are trying to take KM. And that is the reason that we are thinking about new bodies of knowledge, having much more conferences, having much more collaborative activities, having courses that we build together. We do it voluntarily, even though there is some fee, it's for some costs we have, and whatever is left will go for the collaborative activities. I'm not getting any cent from this course. I'm working on it hundreds of hours. We are here to make better KM in the world.
Excellent.
And we have a good chance in doing it. And KMGN is a great platform to meet people, to handle these activities, these courses, these ideas. That at the end of the day, every KMer can contribute to, can implement, and can be part of bringing this prosperity to organizations and society.
Excellent. I think I'm really happy to hear that at least it's not shrinking and it is growing. Yes, of course. And yeah, that is where the next point is, how do we really expand the horizon of knowledge management, and also how do we create the ecosystem where knowledge management economy grows in multifold? That lands me to the next question. How can knowledge management standards could help develop and also expand knowledge management standards? I mean, knowledge management economy. How do you think the knowledge management standard would play a vital role in this?
Okay, I want to put things in scope or put things in proportion. I think that we are not yet in the place that knowledge management expands unlimited. In order to do that, we will have to work also not only with KMers, but with managers. We are not there. We are now speaking one with another, making our value proposition better. Also, the standards works on the same path, making KMers and make KM in organizations better. Of course, it will influence the organizations. It will influence what managers think. It's a mandatory step. But probably after we do it, or while we do it, and when we do it better, we have to start speaking also in another voice, speaking in terms, in a taxonomy of managers and not of knowledge managers. So let's say that the ISO standard is still on the path of expanding and making the KM better, not totally wider. It will make it better, and because it's better, it will be a bit wider. But first of all, it would be better, and that is a key before we even start going to managers, speaking in their language and telling them, okay, let's think totally different. You need these skills, and we don't call them knowledge management at all, because knowledge management is not a nice term. It's not a good term at all. Who coined this term?
Knowledge manager, yeah.
I think he was maybe sick that day. It's a miserable term for me, because when I say knowledge management, no one understands what these two words do together.
Okay.
So, and the same if you speak about a knowledge continuity or knowledge retention, they don't understand you.
It's
so
abstract, yeah. It's very abstract.
when we have specific tasks on our mind now, but we have the next stage is to expand the economy through going to the managers, and we're not yet there. So let's go back to the ISO standard and how it can make us be better, the KM must be better, and the knowledge management be better in organizations. When you look at standards in the world, you have two types of standards. You have, I call them the low-level standards, that you must have them as mandatory. They have to deal with safety, with being, with product safety, with health. You cannot go into an elevator if twice a year they don't check and see that you have the standard. So this is one type of standards that we put aside. When we speak about ISO standards, ISO management standards, because ISO has them both. When we speak about the ISO management standard, we speak about the upstairs standards, not the downstairs standards. Yes. And these upstairs standards, there was once 30 years ago, a British broadcast show, upstairs, downstairs.
Okay.
So if you speak about the upstairs, if you speak about the high level standards, you are speaking about standards that are not mandatory, rather in their type that otherwise I cannot have a cup if it doesn't answer specific standards, or can't enter an elevator if it doesn't answer specific standards. But we're speaking about standards that help organizations be excellent in the area they are now certificated for. Okay. So if I'm speaking about a KM, the 3041 standard, we are speaking about a standard that organizations that are certified for 3041, it means that they are excellent in the way they do knowledge management. It's not that they do have or they do not have. Now, how can we use this standard? Right. Who wants, or I ask it, who wants this standard? First of all, those who want the standards today are very few organizations, because no one asks you for to have a standard in order to work for them. So you can say that there is no trigger to want to have a certification. So those who start the movement and are asking for certifications are organizations that want to excel and want to show that they excel. And usually organizations that already have knowledge management, and the knowledge manager wants to show how good he is. Okay. I will tell you the truth. I have a consultancy firm with 40 employees, and I have a certification for several years. It was the Israeli certification, because we were the first to have an ISO local standard. It had a different name, of course, a different numbering, because it was only local for Israel. And it turned to be the 3041. But we also, as 40 people, are an organization, and it really proves that we excel in knowledge management. But further than that, it makes us even better. And it's very funny, you can think, because you say, okay, you wrote the standard. You were the one who led this project and is leading it today, and you wrote everything. Why do you need a certification in order to be better? You know everything that was written there, and a lot of things you yourself initiated or suggested. So the truth is that having a standard is not only knowing what to do, because many of us know what to do. And it's not only proving that we do it, but it enables us to continually improve ourselves all the time, because we have to monitor ourselves and we have to prove that we are continually improving. And that makes us all the time better and better. So we're not only excelling, we are excelling more than last year. Yes. Every year, again and again. So that's how the standard can make organizations excel their knowledge management. And of course, because we believe that knowledge management is not like a poster or something that is standalone, but it serves the organization, therefore make the organization better, more efficient, more effective, more excelling.
True, true.